triggers are hard, right? In fact, most of the people I talk to, and when I look at my own life, actually, whenever I get triggered, I feel like I've completely lost control of what's going on in that moment. My emotions completely take over, my fear and my anxiety comes to play, and I project it onto other people, trying to either control them or fight them or whatever. So, what I want to give you in this video actually is 2 steps of my secret trigger formula that can help you regain control of your emotions, your time, your space, and help you have more love rather than more disconnection. Okay, so bring out a book and a pen, and I want you to watch this. Now, if you haven't watched the previous videos that I've talked about the anxious attachments or the avoidant and the boundaries, etc., you should watch those because all of these help you understand what's coming up next. And so this video will help you understand, you'll understand more of it if you watch the previous 2. But let's say you've got your books and your pen and you're ready for this. Now, the first thing you need to understand about a trigger is what really makes it so difficult is a key word here called internalization. I want you to write this down and I want you to circle it big or write it in bold. Internalization. Now, what is internalization? Internalization is when your mind takes something that happens in the environment, a stimulus, right, the trigger, and makes it mean something about you by reminding you of something in the past that's hurt you, reminding you of something that you're afraid of, something that you've experienced before. Always, always, always when you're triggered, it's about something that comes from before. So the key word here is internalization, and internalization reminds you of something that you've experienced in the past that was painful. 2 key words, internalization and past. Now, what actually happens is when people first get triggered, it's actually your past that's showing up in the moment. In fact, someone said this beautiful saying that they said the first reaction you have when you get triggered is your past. Your past is just repeating itself. The way you've always reacted to something is the way you react in this moment. And this is because it's stored within your nervous system. Now, why is it stored within your nervous system? Likely in the past, especially when you were growing up, when your nervous system was delicate and when it was absorbing and learning about life, it would have learned when it had painful experiences of rejection, abandonment, invalidation, someone not showing up, any of those things. It would have learned that, okay, these are experiences that hurt me. I'm going to save them because if I even see something slightly similar coming up, I'm going to get into survival mode. And if you've watched the videos before, survival mode can be getting into your attachment style. It can be abandoning or drawing too many boundaries, things like that. We'll talk more about that stuff. So if you haven't watched those videos, you should. But when you get triggered, you get into survival mode. Your past comes shooting back right now, and you lose control of the present. You lose control of like what's actually happening and the love you want to have and create. So I'm going to give you 2 steps of what you can do. This is a really short video, so I won't be able to explain this in full detail, but I'm going to give you 2 steps of what you can do when you get triggered to regain control of your life. 2 of my 5-step formula. Now, the first thing you need to do is remember what I said. Your nervous system is reacting. It's dysregulated. It's bringing up everything from the past. So the first thing you need to do is to create some regulation and calm for the nervous system. So write down breath work. Breath work, grounding can be another way that you regulate, but breath work is one of the most efficient ways to regulate your nervous system. If you watch another video, maybe the next video I'll send you, I'll tell you about how 16 seconds of a particular kind of breath work can actually give you all of the regulation that you need. So first, you need to regulate your nervous system. You need to ground by breathing, etc. What happens when you breathe, you focus on your breath. Your breathing actually changes how your heart functions, how your lungs function, and they inversely tell your brain, hey, actually, if you notice when you're stressed or triggered, you breathe really fast. But when you start to control your breath, they tell the brain, hey, actually, we're not so stressed. So we don't need to breathe fast. We don't need to beat the heart fast. Therefore, we don't need the adrenaline and the cortisol to be running through our body in like such extremes. So instead, your brain starts to calm down and says, okay, yeah, you know what? You're more chill. I'll let you relax and calm down. And then first, your nervous system starts to regulate. If your nervous system is not regulated, you cannot completely work through a process or trigger. You can't. You will just be triggered, and whatever you do after will keep hurting you. Now, the next question, and this one is the big one that you don't learn in therapy, you don't learn in so many other places. And I want to give you a question to journal and write down for yourself right now. This will change your life. When you're triggered, what is it that I'm sensitive to? Or What is it that I'm hurting from, that I'm reacting to in this moment? And here's the follow up: where have I experienced this kind of fear or hurt or sensitivity in the past similarly before? So the first one is, what is it that I'm really sensitive to in the moment? This one's important because when we get triggered, we tend to think the other person's causing the problem, the other person's triggering us. They're actually just doing something that's bringing out the fear. So maybe even better question is, what am I really afraid of in this moment? That could be a really important question for you. And where have I experienced this kind of fear before around the same thing? You will notice, if you really dig deep, and this is why the first video I sent you is so important, you will notice that this fear comes down to three essential feelings or experiences: rejection, an experience of abandonment, or an experience of invalidation. And these are what we call core wounds. Now, in all of my studies of working with clients, I've helped thousands of clients around the world. In all of them, there are these wounds that live in your subconscious mind because of when you were being raised. You may have had an emotionally unavailable parent, an environment that couldn't meet your needs. You may have had a class or a school where you didn't get approved or loved of. Maybe your emotions were shut down and shamed. People called you too much. All of those things create these wounds of being rejected, of being invalidated, or being abandoned if someone didn't choose you, didn't want you, didn't love you the way you needed. These wounds ultimately live in your subconscious mind, and they are the source of what your triggers are. So if you want to really heal your triggers, I've given you this two-step process. I've got a 5-step trigger formula that I do in my program called the Gauntlet, an 8-week healing program, where the most essential elements are that we focus on your subconscious mind, the wounds that actually exist. My fancy camera is doing its thing again. The wounds that actually exist in there and how to heal them. Because if you learn to heal those wounds, all of the things that get triggered because of those wounds will all subside. If you feel a sense of like true love by reparenting your inner child, by healing your subconscious mind and feeling a strong sense of security, you're showing up, you're loving yourself, you feel it internally. I'm not just saying go have a hot tub bath, journal, do all that stuff. Like, you're doing the deep meditations, the actual work that can do the healing of those wounds in the mind, and you feel that sense of love and safety internally. Then when someone's going to say to you that, hey, on a third date, someone says, hey, this is not really what I'm wanting, or I'm moving in a different direction, you don't feel that impending sense of fear. Okay, you know what? I think it's good, because if you don't want to be here, then I'd rather be with someone who wants to choose me, and I'd rather put my love in a place that, someone wants me, and I believe I can have it. That's the key thing. And therefore, you get less and less sensitive to rejection. And if someone doesn't text you back after X amount of time, you're not like, oh my God, is it something about me? Like, do they not love me? Am I not good enough? You don't think those things anymore, because inside you are good enough. You are worthy. You are loving. And by that process, you reject everything that's not good for you. And you only start to invite the true loving relationships you deserve. So if you want to do that powerful healing work with me, by the way, just speaking, I can see my wedding ring. This is the kind of healing work I did that helped me attract my wife and a beautiful relationship that I have. And I want to be able to give that to you. It's an 8-week healing program called the Gauntlet. If you click the link below, you learn about all the details and how you can sign up. But you have to sign up now, because this is a discounted period for this testing batch we're working on. And I want to see if this actually, with this new batch, what's the level of change we can create. And there's only a few limited spots. So if you want to know more about the Gauntlet, you want to do this healing with me, click the link below to learn more about it and to sign up. And keep tuned into your inbox for more videos that may come your way. But you will get the videos anyway. Sign up for the Gauntlet. Don't miss this chance if you need that level of healing.